Entering an MRI scanner is a clinical exercise in vulnerability. The machine ignores everything you've used to present yourself to the world. The expensive fabrics, the layers of makeup, the practiced "I'm fine" you give the nurse. It looks past the surface to map the shadows and pathologies hidden within your own anatomy. Spiritual life often requires a similar, uncompromising scan. When faced with the Word, the soul is placed under a light that functions exactly like that clinical tunnel. It forces a confrontation with the unvarnished state of our inner lives, stripping away the defenses we use to convince ourselves we are healthy. This exposure was on full display in the temple courts of Jerusalem during the festival. When Jesus began to teach, the atmosphere didn't just change, it polarized. His words acted like a massive boulder dropped into a still pond. The impact instantly destroyed the crowd's ability to remain neutral. On one side, people were breathless. They recognized a depth of wisdom that bypassed any formal training, sensing something from beyond their own world. On the other side, the religious elite felt the blade. Their masks of piety were torn away, exposing their failure to live out the very laws they preached. Their reaction was a visceral, red-eyed fury. When truth is this absolute, the middle ground evaporates. You are left with a binary. You either welcome the exposure, or you try to destroy the light that caused it. Hebrews describes this process as more than a diagnosis. It's a living, active, two-edged scalpel. This edge is precise enough to divide our thoughts from our actual intentions, leaving every hidden motive naked before the divine gaze. But the sharpness of this tool depends on the hand that delivers it. If someone uses these words to build their own reputation or seek their own glory, they effectively wrap the blade in thick cotton, muffling the very edge meant to cut through the soul. We can tell if the blade has been muffled by our own reaction. If the word feels like white noise we can easily ignore, the cut never happened. If we feel a surge of rebellion, we are effectively trying to push the surgeon's hands away from us. Real healing begins with a willingness to be opened up and corrected, even when the exposure is painful. That pain is the byproduct of removing what's killing us. By letting the surgeon work, we finally stop the exhausting struggle of trying to save ourselves. This process isn't a solitary trauma. There is a built-in promise that the wisdom to understand the cut is provided at the moment of the greatest intensity. You aren't left to bleed out in confusion. The insight required to process your own flaws is given alongside the exposure itself. This shifts the entire experience from a cold operation into a state of trust. You are no longer just a body on a table. You are a patient in the hands of someone who knows exactly how to heal. Moving from the operating table back into daily life requires a total shift in how we handle the truth. It starts by listening differently. You stop acting like a critic at a performance, grading the speaker's logic or delivery. Instead, you listen as if you are the only recipient of a personal letter. This leads to a new kind of honesty. You begin to see the direct connection between ancient words and your current actions, treating the text like a loyal friend who tells you the difficult things everyone else is too polite to mention. You realize the goal isn't to become a religious puppet performing perfect routines. The surgeon is looking for a raw, genuine heart that actually wants to be changed. Your prayers reflect this. Instead of asking for a checklist of behaviors to fix your day, you find yourself asking God to fundamentally alter who you are from the inside out. Eventually, you reach the point of active cooperation, where you point out the tumors of pride yourself and ask the surgeon to remove them, no matter the cost to your ego. It's through this rigorous openness that the initial sting of exposure transforms into a deep, lasting rest. Standing in the crowd of that ancient temple, the choice becomes clear. There is no neutral corner to hide in. The only path forward is to voluntarily lie down on the table. You stop pretending to be healthy and identify as a patient in need of life-saving intervention. You ask him to move. You ask him to cut through the ego and the selfish desires, trusting that the wisdom to change will follow the blade. When you stop resisting the surgeon, the struggle ends. In that surrender, you finally find the healing you've been trying to manufacture on your own.